Hey everybody, so here's a quick little tutorial for how to use the MyFitnessPal app on your phone. Just keep in mind that if you're using the MyFitnessPal web version on your computer, everything will look a bit different. The buttons will probably be in different places and the screen will just look different, but the functions and general principles that I'm going to show you here should remain the same. But feel free to reach out if you have any questions, if you can't find the same sort of features that we talk about in this little video. So this is the screen that'll show up when you open up the app, just the home screen. Nothing really to see here, it's just a whole bunch of ads and all that good stuff. This bottom toolbar is where you'll kind of switch between different functions in the app. So I'd recommend that you start this More tab on the bottom right, go to Goals and Nutrition Goals, and then customize your default or daily goals. So this button, this is where you'll input the calories that I give you per our plan, and then you'll have to play with the percentages of carbohydrates, protein, and fat to get close to the numbers that I prescribe for you. For whatever reason, the free version doesn't allow you to put in the numbers exactly. You can purchase the version, updated version, and if you want them to be exact, I personally think you can get it pretty close just with the percentages and just take note of the numbers that I've given you in a separate note on your phone or wherever is convenient for you, and just aim for those numbers, because the goals that you put in here aren't what really matters. What matters is your totals, what you actually consume. So do whatever works best for you. I don't think the app costs too much if you want to just get that version so you can put them in exactly, but personally I've been tracking for several years and I just use the percentages and that gets me close enough. So anyways, going back to the kind of main screen, so this diary is where you'll see all the foods that you've added to each meal for the day. Now I believe the standard for MyFitnessPal is just like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then snacks. I've customized my meal names just based on how I like to eat. You can feel free to do that. I believe that's under the More tab as well. There's a whole bunch of different cool functions that I won't go over in this video, but feel free to play around with it. So I've completed my diary for the day essentially, so you can see all my food kind of logged, and I only have 52 calories remaining, which is essentially 0. So this just kind of shows you a completed diary of what I ate for the day. Now this will vary based off what you've eaten and what your goals look like, so just kind of look at this as an example. So I'm gonna go to tomorrow just so I have a blank slate and go through an example of how to add food to your diary. So you'll start by going to this bottom blue plus sign, and when you click that, you get a whole bunch of different icons. We're just going to select food, and let's say we're logging our breakfast. So you can add one item at a time here, or you can add a whole bunch at once with this blue multi-add button. I'd recommend you do that because it saves you from having to go back and kind of press the blue add button and then food and keep doing that all over again. If you just add them all at once, it's just kind of, you can save yourself several steps. So I have a long history of the food items that I eat commonly. You'll build your own history as well once you start logging foods. But anyways, let's just say for breakfast we had some oatmeal with some protein powder and a scoop of peanut butter, one of my favorites. And we're going to do the multi-add function. We can start by searching for the oatmeal. I'd recommend you add the brand name as well, just to be more exact. Let's say we had Quaker oatmeal. You can search for that. Now, when you select a food item, I'd recommend you choose one that has the green check mark if available. That just means it's been verified by MyFitnessPal for accuracy. So if we click on this first one, you'll see it pulls up the calories and the macronutrients for one serving, which is half a cup per this item. And I would just recommend that you look at the carbs, fats, and proteins and calories and compare it to what's on the back of the packaging and make sure it matches. Again, the green check mark should already prove that it's been verified for accuracy, but it's not a bad idea to double check. And if you don't see one with the green check mark, I definitely recommend you check those numbers just to be on track. So here you can play with the total number of servings. If you had 1 cup, you would just put in 2. 2 half cups equals 1 whole. Or you can play with the serving size. It'll usually have a whole bunch of different options here. Sometimes it's all cup tablespoon measurements, or sometimes you'll have weight measurements like grams or pounds or ounces. If you had 1 cup, you can just select the 1 cup. and then leave the number of servings at 1, and that works as well. You can see it updates the calories and macronutrients up at the top there. So anyways, let's say we had 1 cup. You'll select this check mark up in the upper right hand corner. And then let's say we had a scoop of protein powder. I've been using this brand called MyProtein, so I'll search for that. This is a good example. It pulled up my history of what I had earlier today. So let's just say you had a recent item that you want to pull up. Maybe it was Quest Protein or Optimum Nutrition, whatever brand of protein powder you use if you use protein powder. So you could click on that. Let's just say we just had 1 level scoop. So you'll change the serving size to 1. Press the check mark, and then let's say we had a scoop of peanut butter, Adam's peanut butter. So we can search for that, and look at a whole bunch of different options. I don't see any green check marks, so this would be one where you have to just select the one that sounds the best, and then just check the macronutrients and calories to make sure it matches what your package shows. Usually I'll just have 1 tablespoon, so I would go to the serving size, change it to 1 tablespoon, and check that. And then once I'm done, you press add at the bottom, and there you go. So another thing you can do that's kind of cool when you add food, if you don't want to search for something, is you can use a scan barcode feature. So this allows you to just scan the barcode on the back of the food item, and it should search for that in its database and then pull up that food. Once again, just make sure that the numbers are accurate, but that's a lot more convenient if you're using a packaged food item. Now, obviously, things like bananas, avocados, anything raw is not really going to have a barcode, so you just kind of have to search for those. And that's another good point. When you're searching for fruits and vegetables, I'd recommend that you type in USDA when you search for it. So let's just say we had an apple, Fuji apple, and then USDA. So the USDA is the United States Department of Agriculture. It'll usually just pull up a more accurate, an accurate item. So this first one, Apple USD data, Fuji, that's what I would select there. So this one's by weight, 100 grams. Looks like the only options are by weight. But this is a good segue into what I was going to say about using a weight scale. I'd highly recommend that if you have a weight scale, that you just weigh your food. It's going to be a little more accurate than using a measuring cup, and it's just more convenient once you get the hang of it. You don't have to use measuring cups, and you can just kind of add everything to your bowl or plate and just place it on the scale and then tabulate your weight from there. There's a good little write-up on how to use a weight scale in the welcome packet, so feel free to look at that and reach out if you have any questions. So yeah, make good use of the scan the barcode function. But that's about it for adding your food. You can add your water here if you want. It's not necessary. I would just kind of keep track of that in your head. Exercise, don't add your exercise. I've already worked in your exercise into your numbers that I've given you. So don't try to add your exercise and allow yourself to eat more food, because that won't work for the numbers I've kind of given you. So that's about everything. There's a couple more options on this more button. If you go to nutrition, you can see where you're at for the day. If you look at totals, that tells you where you're at for protein, carbs, fiber, sugar, fat, all that good stuff, and then your goals right next to it, just to compare them to one another. So I guess this is a pretty good example. Like I said, I've already finished eating for the day, so you can see that my totals are pretty close to my goals. Not exact. I don't recommend that you try to hit them exactly. If you're within 5 to 10 grams of your protein, carbs, and fats, you're going to be doing just perfect. So the calories is what really matters, but this just kind of shows you where you're at with your macronutrients, which are very important as well. They're part of the plan. So make good use of this. And I think the last thing I wanted to talk about was this My Meals Recipes and Foods. This is where you can create your own recipes, common meals, or foods if they're not already in the MyFitnessPal database. So if you want to create a recipe, you kind of just do it as if you were going to add food items to your meal. For this, I made a sweet potato, turkey, and egg breakfast casserole last week, and I had added all these ingredients, just weighed them out, added them to the total recipe. Once done, you can play with the serving sizes to get the calories down to what's good for you. I think here I was meal prepping, so I made 5 servings, and you can just see the calories and macronutrients that it it made for me for each meal. So that's pretty valuable if you're using a recipe. You can also, like I said, you can also add common meals. Let's say you always have eggs and oatmeal for breakfast. You could create a meal of all those items and then just log that every day, so you don't have to log the items one by one. And then foods, if there's a food item that you found at the store, maybe it's a new packaged healthy food item, whatever, you can add it to the MyFitnessPal database if it doesn't already exist. So yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in here. I'd play around with it a bit. There's probably a ton of other good tutorials on YouTube. I just figured I would do one just so you could hear my voice and talk through it in relevance to the plan that we've created. So I hope this is helpful. Again, feel free to reach out with any questions, and good luck.